Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Hi guys, and welcome to another Fool of the Week. And this week's Fool is Brexiteer and Environment Secretary George Eustice. Now, George Eustice was interviewed by Channel 4 News where, well, he basically lied to the journalists, lied about the European Union. He's the fool because he thought he would get away with it. He's going to say in this interview how the European Union have changed the rules. They had told him everything would be okay, and then they changed the rules and later told him, no, everything will not be okay. So let's hear what he had to say.
There's no legal impediment to this trade. The European Union told us a couple of weeks ago that they weren't going to allow it to continue.
Well, actually,
so we're working with them on that.
To be clear, they haven't had a change of heart. They've said quite specifically the rules in this area have not changed. They have applied and continue to do so to all third countries. This is not new, and it is not a surprise to the UK administration. You should have known about it all along.
No, this is a trade that they don't do with any other third country. And it is somewhere where they've changed their position. We had
That's not what they say. Either they're right.
No, they're not right.
Right, they're wrong.
Not right.
The European Union is wrong. Okay. The European Union is wrong with their own rules. George Eustice knows the rules better than the European Union. Or what George Eustice wants you to believe is that the European Union told him in January, don't worry, you can continue as normal. And then in February, they said, actually, no, you can't. But he doesn't actually have any evidence to support this claim. You know, if this really happened, surely he would have some emails that he can print out or he can put up on the screen to show Channel 4 News. Look, here is what the EU told me, and here is what the EU told me later. This is what they said in January, this is what they said in February. But he doesn't have any of that. So either he's incompetent because he didn't actually have any record of this communication, or the communication, this conversation he had with the EU never existed. Which is more likely?
They are wrong. We do know what they say. We're very familiar with this body of law. We lived with it for 50 years and we got...
So you've been communicating with the EU for 50 years and you never bothered to maintain an email that you've had over something as important as fishing? A Brexiteer who's been banging on about fishing for the last year and a half, and then when it came to the moment of Brexit and he said that the European Commission had told him everything would be okay, how did this take place? Was it over a phone call? Surely if the European Commission had promised you something on a phone call, you'd have a recording of the phone call, or you'd follow it up with an email and say, look, do you mind if we just follow it up with an email just to make sure we have everything clear? He doesn't have any of that. Once again, is it because it didn't happen, or is it because George Eustice is incompetent?
Technical experts in this area. We had actually discussed it with the Commission, and the Commission had told us the trade could continue.
Are they just making it up then?
Yes, they told us the type of export health certificate that could be used and their own...
Where? Show us the evidence, George.
Both public health and animal health laws do provide for the trade to continue. What happened is that the Commission decided, and this was a late decision, that they only took on the first week of February, that they were actually going to change their mind and not allow that trade to continue after all.
That's not true. The European Union haven't changed. The European Commission have not changed anything.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, we're in a dialogue with them because it's an indefensible decision. There's no public health or even animal health grounds for these sorts of restrictions.
So let me show you. This is, as far as I know, I think this is the one that he's talking about. This is Directive 2006/113 from the European Community of the European Parliament and Council. And this is from, it says here, on the 12th of December 2006, on the quality required of shellfish waters. Now, this document has not been updated since the 27th of December 2006. It hasn't been updated. So what the hell is he talking about? If the European Union have changed something, surely this document would have been updated. But it hasn't been updated. What's interesting is if we go to the UK government website, we can see here guidance exporting or moving live fish and shellfish. And you can see this document was published on the 28th of March 2019, almost 2 years ago. So how can George Eustice and how can the fishing communities not know that there would be these requirements if they were published on the UK government website 2 years ago? But let's continue. But what's also interesting is it was recently updated on the 12th of February 2021. If we go to the updates, we can see them here at the bottom of the page. It says on the 12th of February 2021, changed to include the guidance on shellfish exports to EU, which are here. It says exports from England and Wales rejected by EU. If your consignment is rejected by the EU after exporting, you may have the option to bring the goods back. Live fish and shellfish will only be accepted back to Great Britain if they meet certain conditions. But shellfish can't stay, on a truck for a long time. It's delivered and then it's rejected and it has to be brought back. If your goods failed inspection because of risks to animal and public health, they may be destroyed immediately. The BCP will not usually contact the exporter. If your consignment is rejected because they failed animal health or identity checks at the EU BCP, contact the FHI. The FHI official will advise you on whether the animals may be accepted or for return if there is an option to do so. Great Britain will only, GB will only accept the return of animal consignment if the original FHI certified document accompanied the animals. You will need to coordinate the return of the animals by pre-notifying FHI of the return before commencing the return journey. On arrival at the GB port, FHI will undertake documentation, identity and physical checks to determine whether the animals are able to re-enter Great Britain territory. And then it gives some exceptions and some other information, and that's the information that there is. That's it. So we have the EU document that hasn't been updated. We have this document that was, this part, it seems, that was added at the very a few days ago on the 12th of February. And George Eustice is saying that the EU changed something.
So we're obviously trying to persuade them to change that.
In the meantime, can you guarantee that the government won't let a single shellfish exporter go bust because of Brexit?
Well, what I can say is that...
can you guarantee that you're not going to let a single one of these businesses go bust because of the decision that you took to leave the EU?
Well, of course, I can't guarantee what will happen to individual businesses.
Basically, guys, you're on your own. We messed up. We didn't actually understand what was going to happen. It seems to me this document didn't include the information necessary. And it was added on the 12th of February. Now, this is an oversight, but it's extremely concerning. But once again, I think it demonstrates that George Eustice is the fool of the week. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?